Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever wondered about the incredible, often overlooked depths of knowledge from a civilization that shaped so much of our world? Today, we're diving into the rich tapestry of Islamic science and thought. Prepare to shift your perspective on medieval history because what we've uncovered in our sources is truly extraordinary. Our mission today is really to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, maybe some surprising insights from this fascinating material. We'll show you how deeply interconnected science, philosophy, and spirituality were in a way that might just surprise you. We'll explore how these intellectual traditions evolved, the brilliant minds behind them, and, how their discoveries still resonate today.
Right. And what's truly fascinating here is how the sources present such a nuanced view of Islamic intellectual life. It moves far beyond simple narratives of, say, rise and fall. We'll see how what some external historians might have viewed as a period of stagnation was, from an internal perspective, often a profound maturing of consciousness leading to deep spiritual insight and what they called hikmah, timeless wisdom, basically.
And this brings up a really interesting dynamic, doesn't it? The sources highlight how certain intellectual pursuits over time sometimes prioritize what they call higher reasons philosophy, spiritual wisdom, perhaps more than what we today call purely empirical scientific pursuit. It's a dynamic of knowledge and purpose that shaped their world, sure, but it also offers a powerful reflection on ours too. At the very heart of Islamic intellectual life, you'll find this remarkable figure, the Hakim. Think of the Hakim as the wise man. But this wasn't just any wise man. Imagine someone who seamlessly blended roles, not just a doctor, but also a poet, an astronomer, a mathematician, a sage, all rolled into one.
Exactly.
This Hakim truly embodied the unity of the sciences, seeing them as different interconnected branches of a single mighty tree of knowledge.
And this holistic perspective was absolutely fundamental. For medieval Muslim authors, pushing any single discipline beyond its natural limits, disrupting the harmony and proportion of things, that was considered a useless, even illegitimate activity. It wasn't really about stifling inquiry, but rather ensuring that knowledge was always holistic and integrated. This commitment to intellectual harmony, conciliating many shades of thought, it's a core characteristic of Islamic wisdom.
So what does this mean for us, immersed in our hyper-specialized modern world? This idea of a unified wisdom, where a deep understanding of one field naturally informs and enriches all others. It really makes you pause, doesn't it? It challenges our assumptions about how knowledge should be pursued.
It really does. And this comprehensive pursuit, it began incredibly early. We see figures like Hunayn ibn Ishaq, a Christian scholar, interestingly, who led massive translation efforts, bringing Greek and Syriac texts into Arabic. This wasn't just copying. It was meticulous translation of foundational knowledge that truly laid the groundwork for the Islamic sciences.
Right.
Then you have Al-Khwarizmi, the very first outstanding Muslim mathematician. His work on algebra, well, it literally gave its name to the science.
Amazing.
And he also played a pivotal role in introducing Arabic numerals, which actually were Indian in origin to the Western world.
And this incredible intellectual freedom, this rigor, it manifested in minds like al-Biruni, arguably the greatest scientist of Islam. His intellectual integrity, his profound love of fact, his sort of freewheeling curiosity were, as our sources point out, in no way different from the best Western scientific minds, or consider Rhizes and Alhazen. These were not just theorists, they were meticulous observers, experimenters, analysts, demonstrating a truly scientific temper that, frankly, needed no apologies for what some might have seen as their perhaps a shade too secular attitude. They were just driven by pure inquiry.
That drive is key.
This deep-seated drive for knowledge wasn't accidental either. It was embedded in the very fabric of Islamic society. How so, you ask? Well, the Quran itself affirmed the sacred nature of knowledge. Verses like, "Read, in the name of thy Lord who createth." And the Prophet Muhammad's sayings, things like, "Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave," or even that remarkable call to seek knowledge. Even in China, they became authoritative arguments for spreading learning.
And this religious impetus, it truly fueled a robust educational system right from the ground up. At the base were the maktab schools, essentially elementary schools, providing fundamental reading, writing, religious principles to both boys and girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's fascinating to see the regional variations even then. Like the Spanish method emphasized poetry and calligraphy, while North Africa combined Quranic study with scientific norms. These early stages instilled a profound reverence for learning. A bedrock, really.
And this is where the pursuit of advanced knowledge really takes off. The Beit al-Hikmah, the House of Wisdom, founded by Caliph al-Mamun in Baghdad around 815 CE. Imagine a state-supported hub A massive library, an observatory bringing together scientists and scholars from all over the known world.
A real melting pot.
Totally. They undertook the monumental task of translating almost the entire body of Greek scientific and philosophical literature into Arabic, to the point that, get this, more of Aristotle's writings are actually extant in Arabic today than in any modern European language.
It's incredible when you think about it.
Just pause on that for a moment.
And following this, the madrasas, or colleges, began to emerge as centers of higher learning. A famous example is the one Nizam al-Mulk established in Baghdad in 1067 CE. That's where the renowned Al-Ghazali taught. What's truly remarkable about these institutions was the culture of rigorous intellectual debate they fostered. Our sources tell us that even with the ruler present, students weren't just encouraged, they were expected to challenge assumptions, debate scientific questions, sometimes even reprimanding those who, feigned understanding out of mere politeness.
Wow. Could you imagine stepping into an environment like that? It wasn't about quietly accepting facts. It was about genuine understanding, critical thought, not just rote memorization.
Exactly.
It really highlights the premium they placed on active intellectual engagement.
Okay, let's unpack this further then. Let's zoom in on some specific scientific fields that flourished, showing us how this integrated approach played out in practice. Maybe start with mathematics, which they saw as, far more than just numbers. Absolutely. Mathematics was viewed as the gateway leading from the sensible to the intelligible world, like a Jacob's ladder connecting the earthly to the divine. It wasn't just about quantity. Numbers held deep symbolic, qualitative aspects. They were seen as projections of unity. The Brethren of Purity, an intriguing group of scholars from Basra, they even saw the science of number as the root of the sciences. They detailed dualities in nature, moving versus stationary, hot versus cold, male versus female, and linked them directly to numerical principles. It was like a cosmic language.
And this profoundly rich approach, it led to incredible advancements, right? We already mentioned Al-Khwarizmi's algebra, which was foundational. But even later figures like Umar Khayyam, famous to us as a poet, made significant strides in algebra too.
That's right.
Tackling complex cubic and quadratic equations that often required geometric solutions using conic sections. It really shows how seamlessly different fields were connected for them.
It does.
Okay, moving on to physics. Here we see a strong emphasis on empirical observation.
Indeed. There was a meticulous focus on observation and experimentation. Al-Biruni, for instance, precisely measured the specific weights of various minerals with an accuracy that honestly stands up impressively even against modern values. Our sources attest to that.
Wow.
And then there's Al-Khazini's Book of the Balance of Wisdom. It meticulously detailed the theory and application of balances, including a sophisticated water balance designed to solve problems like Archimedes' famous crown dilemma. This wasn't just theory, it was applied science.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for us today, I think. Alhazen.
Ah, yes.
Considered the greatest student of optics between Ptolemy and Kepler. He fundamentally transformed the study of light, didn't he?
He really did. He shifted it from philosophical speculation more towards empirical investigation, profoundly influencing later Western scientists like Newton.
And his student, Qutb-al-Din al-Shirazi, provided the first correct qualitative explanation of the rainbow, attributing it to both reflection and refraction. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And we also see early concepts of motion, like Abu Barakat al-Baghdadi asserting that a constant force causes accelerated motion.
A precursor to impetus theory.
A remarkable precursor, exactly, to later impetus theory developed in the West.
Now, cosmology, geography, and natural history, this gives us a glimpse into how they viewed the entire universe.
Yes, this field reveals their grand unified vision. Islamic cosmology viewed the entire cosmos as Islamized, meaning it reflected a unity and gradation of being. Authors saw 5 states of being, from the divine essence all the way down to the physical domain, all profoundly connected. This holistic view meant that natural historians didn't study nature out of mere curiosity, but to observe the signs of God, to truly see God's wisdom everywhere manifested.
A different motivation.
A different motivation, exactly, leading to monumental works like The Wonders of Creation.
And it's in this field, I believe, we find that truly fascinating detail about the Earth being round.
Yes. The observation of Damawan Mountain from the Caspian Sea. It was used as evident proof of the spherical form of the water of the sea, which has the shape of a segment of a ball.
Think about that. They were figuring out the Earth was round, not just theoretically, but from practical, on-the-ground observation.
Quite ingenious. And natural history also flourished, moving from early zoological treatises, like those by Al-Azma'i, to Al-Jahiz's comprehensive Book of Animals. This wasn't just a list. It combined scientific, literary, moral, and religious studies of animals.
More than just anatomy.
Much more. The dispute between man and the animals even offered profound moral and spiritual lessons derived from the animal kingdom. You find these curious facts like the camel's susceptibility to ecstasy and gladness from an Arab song.
Really?
Yes. Or the mule being the longest lived of domestic animals due to its infrequent copulation, contrasting sharply with the short-lived sparrow. It's a rich blend of observation and insight.
That's quite something. Finally, let's explore medicine, a field where they truly synthesize knowledge from across cultures.
Absolutely. Islamic medicine built on a formidable foundation: Greek, Pahlavi, Sanskrit texts, creating a truly synthetic and advanced approach. Figures like Ali ibn Rabban al-Tabari produced comprehensive works like Paradise of Wisdom, summarizing all branches of medicine, including practices gleaned from Indian traditions. A real melting pot of healing knowledge.
And what's particularly striking are the early insights into psychosomatic medicine.
Oh, definitely.
Our sources give that detailed account of Rais's curing a prince with a chronic ailment.
Yes, by deliberately inducing anger and fear. It was a calculated psychical treatment, demonstrating his mastery of treatment by means of psychological shock.
Incredible. Shows a deep understanding of the mind-body connection way before modern psychology.
Long before. But perhaps the most universally influential figure was Avicenna.
The canon of medicine.
Exactly. His canon of medicine became the epitome of Islamic medicine. Taught for centuries in Western universities, one of the most frequently printed scientific texts during the Renaissance. He meticulously detailed everything from the anatomy of the heart, including its two ventricles and passages, to the intricate system of humoral pathology.
The four humors.
Right. Health as a delicate equilibrium of four humors: blood, phlegm, bilious or yellow bile, and atrabilious, which is often called black bile or melancholic humor. He even explored the concept of a vital spirit conveying the soul's faculties through the body.
That's remarkable. So why was medicine linked so closely to logic in their view? That seems important.
It's a crucial point. As the source explains, a physician absolutely needed to know logic, to understand genus and species, to discriminate between that which appertains to the category, that which is peculiar to the individual, and that which is accidental. This rigorous logical framework allowed them to truly diagnose the root cause of a disease, moving beyond just symptoms to fundamental understanding, applying reason to healing.
Makes sense. Okay, moving into a more mystical, yet you said deeply practical, realm, alchemy. This wasn't just about turning lead into gold, was it?
Oh, absolutely not. In the Islamic world, authentic alchemy was understood as a profound spiritual science, deeply related to Sufism, aiming for a realization of the Adamic state, or paradise, not merely physical transmutation.
Okay.
And this is crucial. It was a sacrificial science. Material substances were ennobled, made sacred, not as independent realities, but as condensations of higher spiritual realities. Even the work of an artisan, like making transparent glass from opaque stuff, was considered an alchemical process transforming matter to make it a more direct, intelligible symbol of the spiritual world.
Transforming matter to reveal spirit. Fascinating. And how did it connect with astrology?
They were seen as closely allied complementary disciplines. Astrology looked to the heavens, understanding cosmic influences. Alchemy focused on the earth, seeing metals as signs of the planets on Earth, generated through those planetary influences.
So metals were like earthly planets?
In a symbolic sense, yes. There are 7 key symbols linking them. Saturn with lead, for instance, all the way up to the sun with gold. It's a truly cosmic view of matter.
And the process itself, the stages.
The alchemical work itself involved 3 profound stages. First, the black, representing putrefaction, dissolution, often symbolized by the head of the crow, a necessary initial breakdown. Then came the white. This was a purification of the soul, where the alchemist begins to see nature from within in its sort of Edenic purity. Finally, the red, the ultimate chemical marriage where the soul is transformed into gold by the light of the spirit. It's a journey of inner and outer transformation.
Inner and outer. But there was a split in this tradition, wasn't there, between the symbolic and the practical?
Yes, a significant one. Jabir ibn Hayyan, an early alchemist, emphasized the balance of the natures, even relating the harmony of qualities to musical ratios. His alchemy was deeply symbolic. But later, Rhazes, who we mentioned in medicine, incredibly skilled in practical chemistry, credited with discovering alcohol, certain acids, he actually rejected this deeper symbolic alchemical worldview. He focused instead on the external physical properties alone, essentially laying the groundwork for chemistry as we know it today, kind of divorcing it from its spiritual roots, a real turning point.
Interesting divergence.
Okay.
Our journey through Islamic thought brings us to philosophy. Two major schools emerged, you mentioned, often in dialogue.
That's right. The peripatetic school, leaning heavily on Aristotle's logical, syllogistic methods knowledge through reasoned deduction, and the illuminationist school, which emphasized intellectual intuition, direct spiritual illumination, alongside reason, not instead of, but alongside.
Illumination. And this brings us to a pivotal figure, Al-Ghazali.
Indeed. After a period of flourishing rationalism, Al-Ghazali played a crucial role in shaping Sunni Islam's intellectual life. He mounted this profound refutation of the rationalist philosophers, arguing that the connection between cause and effect, like fire-burning cotton, wasn't necessary or inherent in the objects themselves.
How so?
Well, for him, it was a direct and immediate act of God, every single instance. This led to what's called conceptual atomism. Imagine the world as a series of distinct, individual events, each directly caused by the transcendent cause, God, not a continuous chain. It stressed a kind of discontinuity between the world and the divine, a profound shift in understanding reality.
Wow, okay. And on the other side of that debate was Averroes, the Aristotelian.
Exactly. Averroes, the purist Aristotelian, passionately tried to counter Al-Ghazali, arguing for the fundamental harmony between reason and revelation. But while he had immense influence in the West, surprisingly, his impact in the Islamic world was less than Al-Ghazali's, or even Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, who successfully reestablished Avicenna's more integrated philosophical school back in the East, shows a fascinating divergence of intellectual currents.
Avicenna again. He seems central.
He is. Though considered a peripatetic, he was also a significant precursor to the Illuminationist school. In his later works, like the visionary narratives, he transformed the cosmos into a universe of symbols. Here, the facts and phenomena of nature become transparent, revealing their profound spiritual significance for the Gnostic, the seeker of direct, intuitive spiritual knowledge.
Like reading the book of nature.
Precisely. His poem on the soul's descent and journey, his descriptions of the spring of water of knowledge, the symbolic hoary sea of the Occident, they truly paint a vivid picture of this inner spiritual journey to truth.
And at the pinnacle of this spiritual understanding is this concept of the universal man. Ibn Arabi explored this.
Yes, a profound concept. This logos, or supreme spirit, is seen as the archetype of the entire cosmos, the pole around which all the spheres of existence evolve. For the Gnostic, understanding nature in its true essence comes not just from external observation, but from self-purification, inner illumination, making the individual a mirror in which God contemplates his own names and qualities.
Finding universal truth within oneself, that's deep.
It leads to such a profound idea about knowledge itself. The sources, particularly Nasafi and Rumi, they really emphasize that true knowledge of the essence of things isn't simply found in books. Nasafi stated that of 100,000 men, there may be one who knows. Of 100,000 things this man knows, there may be one that he should utter.
Wow.
And that genuine understanding often comes through personal association with one who knew, being with a teacher.
Not just reading about it.
Exactly. Rumi captures this so poetically, saying, "The moon is in the sky, not in the water. Would you rise beyond the name and letter, make yourself entirely pure, and behold in your own heart all the knowledge of the prophets, without book, without learning, without preceptor?"
A powerful call to a different kind of knowing. What an incredible journey. We've truly seen how Islamic civilization fostered this profoundly integrated approach to knowledge, where science, philosophy, spiritual wisdom, they weren't separate silos, were they?
Not at all. They were deeply interconnected, mutually enriching. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, I think the enduring lesson from this deep dive is that emphasis on a holistic pursuit of truth. Whether it was the Hakim unifying diverse disciplines, the madrasas encouraging rigorous debate, or, the alchemists seeking to make matter sacred, the ultimate goal was often a deeper, more comprehensive understanding of reality, not just collecting isolated facts.
It really challenges our own modern silos of knowledge, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
The idea that intellectual integrity, scientific inquiry, and spiritual wisdom could exist in such a dynamic, often debated, but ultimately integrated way. It offers a powerful alternative perspective on what it truly means to be well-informed and wise in our own lives. So as you go about your day, maybe think about this. In a world overflowing with information, where we constantly seek to learn more, how might integrating wisdom, intuition, a more holistic perspective, transform your own pursuit of knowledge? Beyond just what can be found in a book or on a screen, Perhaps, as Rumi suggested, the moon is in the sky, not just in its reflection. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, maybe given you some new aha moments. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep making those surprising connections.